Riot just released a new cinematic called Welcome to Noxus that most likely teases the next region for Arcane. For those of you wondering where I've been, I want to say that unlike my shorts, I genuinely care about my videos, so I've been rewatching Season 2 and I'll have a huge video out this week, I promise. But back to the cinematic analysis, it starts out with LeBlanc in her Noxus control room drawing on walls and explaining how Noxus is all about the strong, as the challenges of the land call and test those within its domain. I know the C in LeBlanc is silent, but unfortunately I don't really care. Noxus prides itself in the strength of its people, and they kinda try to maintain a meritocracy, and we are getting confirmation that strength will be a premier theme of the region. Much like the dogma of progress in Piltover, driving everyone to create their change and spheres of influence in the city, Noxus will be a lot more self-centered, with characters undergoing their personal revelations for more strength. Progress for Piltover was much more of a collaborative effort, with Soko's industrialization, Jace's Hextech, Caitlyn's justice, Jinx's calamity, all justified as fixing some systematic issue with the city. But as we come to see, Noxus prides itself on the capability of the individual, which makes me think there will be a phenomenal character arc for Mel. Her magic is referenced to be that of an empath, bolstering other people's power alongside revealing truths about them. Mel's magic centers around others, and her themes of bringing Piltover's collaborative spirit into Noxus can be a stark contrast to the Noxian status quo, finding strength in allies and bonds as a worthy rival to personal ambition. That would make sense how Mel is alone in Noxus, as her journey will be slowly gathering those she trusts and rebuilding her influence in the indiscriminate new region to kinda prove that she can stand on her own, putting the Mel above the Medarda. Hence why Mel is characterized as a wolf by LeBlanc, which were her final developments in the Piltover storyline. Going through the different plot points separately, we see a dancer infiltrate some fat dude's circle jerk. The ballroom floor reminiscent of a flower, it seems like the Black Rose's influence is even more pervasive here. The dancer tries to get close to the man before it's revealed that she's Katarina, the Noxian assassin baddie. As she lunges forward, she's stopped by a spider leg, and Elise, the brood MILF, comes out to gank her. It seems like LeBlanc planned for this, drawing the assassin ensnared by the arachnid. Elise turns this battle into a family reunion, but luckily Katarina learns some child rearing tips from Jace. As she fights, the ugly bastard seems to get interested in Kat. This guy should have just ran away, but like me, he's sitting there geeking out at a 10 out of 10 shoddy who made it all this way just to see him. Kat places a dagger on the floor before re-engaging and then teleporting to it. I'm curious how they'll manage to make fight scenes make sense with the added complexity of magic. Even the riders only let Vi use her shield once, so hopefully the riders don't end up in a situation where people complain about powers being underutilized. Katarina uses her magic to get close to the Gunner and swiftly offs him, which pisses Elise off, who transforms into a giant spider. Alright, hear me out. Switching over, LeBlanc shows this symbol, which I'm not too sure what it represents. It kinda looks like an axe or the Freyord symbol, but I'll just wait for the Necrit video. Then it cuts to Darius facing off against Trundle. The Noxian army and the trolls are standing back, letting this 1v1 happen. I'm assuming this is Trundle since he's the king of the trolls, but maybe that's a self-proclaimed title. I should really research League lore. Darius cuts into his ice club, whose ice magic starts spreading, so he tosses it aside to do fisticuffs. The problem with boxing against someone taller and heavier than you is that you are going to lose 90% of the time, and that's what happens here. As a final gambit, he reaches back for his frozen axe and strikes it across Trundle's head to knock him out, but his hand starts freezing. And the rest of the trolls carry Trundle back. Since Noxus is an expansionist empire, maybe LeBlanc wants to invade Freyord and the trolls are standing in their way. I have a different guess, but I'll explain that later. Mel makes her way into Noxus, where she comes across a gate with Noxian history inscribed into it, also branded with the rose insignia. I like how Mel tries feeling her way out of puzzles, like when she was in the dungeon, as it really catered towards her empath persona. How Mel always senses her way out of everything. Then her magic tips Mel that something is off and she gets transported into a nightmare dimension. Some fathers try jumping her, but our goddess shrugs them off easily. The Thing 1 and Thing 2 bring their two other friends to bind Mel, but our girl has that dog in her literally. These guys get one shot, so the natural course of action is to chuck a bunch of rocks at Mel. She manages to force field an entire giant boulder, and in my live reaction, I was confused since Mel was having trouble against just one evolved Twink and even Mbessa. Albeit she had her anti-magic stones, she wasn't even fazed by Mel's shield. So I assumed this was all in Mel's imagination, cause no way she got that much stronger after like a week. Anyway, she tosses up the stone head, which looks like it's LeBlanc with the eye diamond, and uses it to break open the gates of Noxus. Mel wakes up and looks at the kingdom far away, realizing the scale of her lone girl operation. But she hardens her face much like her mother and charges forward. Finally, we cut back to LeBlanc, and safe to say that the hot lady stocks for the Arcane Cinematic Universe just went way up. Then the CEO of Twinks come out. This is Vladimir, since he's twirling blood in his hands and he seems worried about Mel's approach and wants to take care of it. LeBlanc says it's not their priority and how calamity is always a threat. She shifts the Black Rose's focus to something else, something more impactful. It's explicitly stated how this move is not safer but bolder, and then shows a knife with an eye on it. This is definitely Neferi, a Darkin. For those who don't know, Darkins are these demigods that turned bloodthirsty and got sealed inside weapons, and they are kind of world-ending threats. Neferi also gets consumed by wolves, which gives more weight into the wolf motif we see in the arcane scribbles. I think the Black Rose is going after the Darkin weapons at this point, which seems hype. I am a bit worried because not everything needs to have world-ending stakes, right? I think the Nox in charge in the Freyord is also going after a different Darkin, like Aatrox or something. But anyways, it's too soon to say, and I'm not too good at theories without knowing the overall narrative of Noxus, so your guess is as good as mine. You think I'm dumb? You think Noxus is going to be the next region? It's looking really likely. Let me know your thoughts and all your theories below, and yeah, video out this week. I promise, okay? Bye, goodbye.